In the annals of warfare, the Aztecs distinguished themselves with an array of deadly weapons, ingeniously crafted to ensure dominance and survival. This video explores the 10 deadliest weapons wielded by these formidable Mesoamerican warriors, delving into their unique design, tactical use, and lethal effectiveness. Number 1. Atlatl, the Aztec spear thrower. The atlatl, often known as the spear thrower, was an iconic weapon in the Aztec arsenal. Its ingenious design enabled Aztec warriors to throw spears with much greater force and accuracy than could be achieved with a simple hand-thrown weapon, giving them a significant advantage in combat. The atlatl was a slender, curved tool usually about 2 feet long, typically crafted from hardwood. It had a notch or hook at one end to hold the spear or dart, known as tlacoctli, in place. The design utilized leverage to increase the spear's velocity, multiplying the power and range of the warrior's throw significantly. The weapon's increased range made it a key tool for Aztecs, allowing them to strike down enemies from a safe distance. The force and accuracy with which an atlatl could launch a spear made it incredibly deadly. The darts were capable of penetrating Spanish armor, a factor that shocked the conquistadors during their encounters with the Aztecs. Aztec darts, often tipped with obsidian or chert, could pierce through both leather and chainmail, making them a formidable weapon against both armored and unarmored opponents. The atlatl was also versatile. It was light and portable, easy for a warrior to carry. This was crucial in Aztec warfare, which often involved ambush tactics in the dense jungles and swamplands of Mesoamerica. In such conditions, a bulky or heavy weapon would be a liability, whereas the atlatl, light and easy to handle, was a boon. One of the most fearsome aspects of the atlatl was its psychological impact. The sight of a flurry of deadly spears soaring through the air, launched from the atlatls of Aztec warriors, was an intimidating spectacle. The whirring sound the spears made as they hurtled towards their targets added to this terror, sapping the morale of enemy forces even before the spears struck home. While the atlatl was not unique to the Aztecs, they perfected its use in warfare. It was more than a weapon to them. It held religious and cultural significance, often featuring in their rituals and art. It was a symbol of both martial prowess and spiritual power. Number 2. Tepoztopili, the obsidian-tipped spear. A deadly addition to the Aztec weaponry, the Tepoztopili, an obsidian-tipped spear, was a sight to behold and a force to reckon with on the battlefield. This spear-like weapon combined the artistry of Aztec craftsmanship with lethal effectiveness, making it a formidable tool in the hands of Aztec warriors. The Tepoztopili was typically constructed with a long wooden shaft, often made from sturdy and readily available materials such as oak or pine. The defining feature of the weapon was its tip. A wooden head was carefully crafted, into which sharp fragments of obsidian, a volcanic glass renowned for its sharpness, were embedded. The obsidian shards were arranged in a manner reminiscent of a modern serrated knife, creating a row of sharp points along the edge of the weapon's head. This unique design offered a devastating combination of piercing and tearing capabilities. The obsidian shards, renowned for their ability to maintain a sharp edge, could pierce through light armor with ease. Once embedded in an enemy, the serrated edge caused severe trauma upon removal, as the multiple points tore flesh, intensifying the injury. Due to the design and materials used, the Tepoztopili was a relatively lightweight weapon. This allowed the Aztec warriors to wield it with agility and speed, adding to its effectiveness. It was versatile, serving both as a thrusting spear and a slashing weapon, thus giving the warrior flexibility on the battlefield. Additionally, the length of the spear offered the warrior an advantage of range, keeping the enemy at a safer distance. The use of obsidian beyond its practical application carried symbolic significance. The Aztecs believed that obsidian was the embodiment of Tezcatlipoca, the omnipotent god of the night sky, strife, and discord. Thus, a warrior wielding a Tepoztopili was seen as channeling the divine power of Tezcatlipoca, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. In terms of construction, each Tepoztopili was a labor of precision. Crafting such a weapon required a high level of skill. The obsidian shards had to be carefully knapped to the right size and sharpness, and then meticulously embedded in the wooden head. The process of creating a single topaz could take several days, reflecting the attention to detail and craftsmanship of Aztec weapons makers. One downside of the topaz was that it wasn't designed for prolonged use. The obsidian points could become dislodged or blunted after striking a hard object or armor. However, the ease with which they could be replaced somewhat mitigated this disadvantage. Number 3. Macuahuitl, the obsidian sword. Among the vast range of Aztec weaponry, the Macuahuitl stands out not only for its unique construction and lethal efficacy, but also for its iconic status in Aztec culture. This innovative obsidian sword epitomizes the lethal fusion of craftsmanship, practicality, and religious symbolism that defined Aztec warfare. The Macuahuitl was fundamentally a wooden club, with a groove on either side where razor-sharp obsidian blades were inserted and adhered. The structure created was akin to a wooden sword, its edges lined with a row of obsidian blades. These blades, made from naturally occurring volcanic glass, were capable of retaining an edge far sharper than that of steel. Spanish chroniclers often compared the Macuahuitl to a double-edged glass saw, underscoring the weapon's fierce reputation. This unique design conferred the Macuahuitl a brutal efficiency on the battlefield. Its obsidian blades could deliver deep, lethal cuts, severing limbs and causing extensive trauma with a well-aimed swing. The weapon was also remarkably versatile. Despite its appearance as a sword, it could be employed in a manner similar to a club or baton in close combat, allowing the warrior to disarm opponents or deliver powerful, stunning blows. The Macuahuitl's construction was a testament to the Aztecs' resourcefulness and engineering prowess. Crafting this weapon required not only skill in woodworking, but also in knapping obsidian. The process involved shaping the fragile volcanic glass into blade fragments, then painstakingly embedding them into the wooden club, creating a lethal fusion of wood and glass. It's worth noting that the Macuahuitl was not designed for prolonged combat. The obsidian blades, while deadly sharp, were prone to chipping or shattering upon hitting hard materials such as bone or armor. However, the relative abundance of obsidian and the ease of replacing the blades mitigated this issue to an extent. As with many Aztec weapons, the Macuahuitl held religious significance. Obsidian was associated with Tezcatlipoca, one of the major Aztec gods, representing the divine power imbued in the weapon. A warrior wielding a Macuahuitl was not only feared for his weapon's lethal capacity, but also revered for the divine favor he was perceived to hold. Despite the eventual fall of the Aztec Empire to the Spanish, the Macuahuitl left a lasting impression. Accounts from the Spanish conquistadors attest to the weapon's lethal effectiveness, with stories of these obsidian swords cleaving through Spanish steel swords and helmets, a testament to the Macuahuitl's formidable power. Number 4. Yaomitl, the Aztec dart. The yaomitl, often translated as war dart, was another weapon central to the Aztec martial tradition. Though seemingly simple, this weapon showcased the tactical prowess of the Aztecs and their ability to combine efficiency, range, and lethality in their armaments. Constructed primarily from reeds or lightwood, the yaomitl was essentially a long, lightweight dart. It was typically around 4 feet long, fletched for stability in flight, and tipped with a point made of either bone, copper, or more commonly obsidian. Its design was a perfect balance between weight, strength, and aerodynamics, allowing the dart to be thrown with considerable force and accuracy over a great distance. The yaomitl was not typically thrown by hand, but was instead launched using the atlotl, or spear thrower, multiplying the projectile's velocity and range. This allowed the Aztecs to maintain a safe distance from their adversaries while still inflicting serious harm. The combination of the atlotl and yaomitl turned Aztec warriors into efficient long-range combatants, allowing them to attack from a distance before moving in for close-quarters combat. The obsidian tips, notorious for their sharpness, could penetrate lightly armored targets with relative ease. The speed at which a yaomitl was launched made it even more lethal, capable of inflicting severe wounds. This, combined with the fact that the Aztecs often poisoned their dart tips, made the yaomitl a silent but formidable killer on the battlefield. The darts themselves were relatively easy and quick to manufacture. This was crucial for the Aztec military, which needed to maintain a steady supply of weapons for their numerous campaigns. Furthermore, the simplicity and lightness of the yaomitl meant that a warrior could carry several of them without being burdened, enhancing the Aztecs' ability to maintain a sustained, ranged attack. Like other weapons in the Aztec arsenal, the yaomitl held a spiritual dimension. It was often used in religious ceremonies and rituals, symbolizing the power of the gods. This religious significance elevated the yaomitl from a mere weapon to a divine instrument, further enhancing its psychological impact on adversaries. However, the yaomitl had its limitations. The darts were not designed to be retrieved and reused. Once thrown, they were often left behind. The fragility of the obsidian tips also meant that they were likely to shatter upon impact, reducing the dart's effectiveness against heavily armored foes. Number 5. Chimali, the Aztec shield. Though not a weapon in the traditional sense, the chimali, the Aztec shield, was an integral part of Aztec warfare. Offering both protection and offensive capabilities, the chimali was more than a simple defensive tool. It embodied Aztec resourcefulness, artistic flair, and the deep symbolism that permeated their martial culture. The chimali was typically round or oval, crafted from a wooden or reed frame and covered with hide, often from deer or jaguars. This made the shield sturdy but lightweight, a necessary combination for the quick and agile style of Aztec warfare. The exterior was usually decorated with vibrant feathers and images of animals, gods, or symbols, each with its own specific meaning. These designs served to intimidate enemies and identify the rank or achievements of the warrior. Despite being primarily a defensive tool, the chimali had significant offensive capabilities. Its outer rim was often lined with sharp obsidian or flint, allowing it to be used as a bludgeoning weapon in close combat. A warrior could use the chimali to ward off attacks and then quickly counterstrike with the shield's edge, catching opponents off guard. The defensive capabilities of the chimali were substantial. It could effectively deflect blows from a variety of weapons, from darts to arrows to swords, protecting the warrior and enabling him to stay in the fight longer. The shield's size allowed it to cover a substantial portion of the warrior's body, offering protection without hindering movement or visibility. The construction and decoration of the chimali were a testament to Aztec craftsmanship. Crafting a single shield required significant time and skill, involving woodworking, tanning, and featherworking. The resulting shield was not only effective in combat, but also a work of art, displaying the intricate designs and vibrant colors characteristic of Aztec artistry. As with most Aztec weapons, the chimali held religious significance. The depictions on the shield were more than mere decoration. They were symbolic, representing various gods or spiritual concepts. A warrior's shield was often seen as a reflection of his spiritual strength, a divine protector in the chaos of battle. However, the chimali was not invincible. Against heavy weapons or repeated blows, the shield could break or become less effective. It was also susceptible to damage from fire or moisture, both of which could weaken its structural integrity. Despite these limitations, the chimali remains an iconic symbol of Aztec warfare. Its blend of defensive and offensive capabilities, along with its aesthetic appeal and religious symbolism, make it a unique artifact of Aztec culture. Though it may not have been a weapon in the strictest sense, its contribution to the survival and success of Aztec warriors in battle cannot be understated, earning the chimali a well-deserved place among the deadliest tools of Aztec warfare. Number 6. Huitzolquí, the battle axe. When examining Aztec weaponry, one cannot overlook the Huitzolquí, a fearsome Aztec battle axe. Known for its strength and lethal force, this formidable weapon stands as an imposing testament to the skill and ferocity of the Aztec warriors. Constructed with a sturdy wooden handle and an obsidian or copper head, the Huitzolquí was designed for raw, crushing power. Unlike the more precise slicing weapons like the macuahuitl, the battle axe relied on the weight and momentum of its swing to inflict damage, making it devastatingly effective in the hands of a strong warrior. The axe head's design varied, with some models having a single blade, while others featured blades on both sides. Certain versions even had a spike on top, providing an additional method of attack. This versatility allowed the warrior to adapt to different combat situations, striking with the blade, the spike, or even the handle in close quarters combat. The Huitzoqui's power did not come without its challenges. It was a relatively heavy weapon, requiring physical strength and endurance to wield effectively. Its swinging motion also required a degree of space, making it less suitable for densely packed combat situations. However, in the hands of a skilled and strong warrior, these limitations could be overcome, and the Huitzoqui's destructive force fully realized. This battle axe also held symbolic significance in Aztec society. It was associated with various gods, such as Tezcatlipoca and Huitzilopochtli, the god of war and the sun. Thus, a warrior wielding a Huitzauqui was often seen as an earthly embodiment of these divine forces, enhancing the psychological impact of the weapon. The construction of the Huitzauqui involved a fusion of woodworking and metalworking or obsidian knapping, showcasing the Aztecs' technical skill and ingenuity. Crafting the weapon was a labor-intensive process, requiring patience, precision, and a deep understanding of the materials involved. Despite its inherent strength, the Huitzauqui was not impervious to damage. The wooden handle could break under intense force, and the obsidian blade could chip or shatter. However, its relative simplicity made it easier to repair or replace compared to more intricate weapons. Number 7. Cuajololi, the wooden club. The cuajololi, a simple yet effective wooden club, was a staple in the Aztec warrior's arsenal. Its straightforward design and the brute force it could deliver made the cuajololi a powerful and reliable weapon in the chaos of battle. Fashioned from strong hardwood, the cuajololi was designed to be both sturdy and lightweight. It had a long handle for a firm grip, and the striking end was often enlarged or knobbed to maximize the impact. The weapon was well suited to the Aztecs' close-quarters fighting style, with its efficacy hinging not on complexity or sophistication, but raw, bone-crushing force. Despite its basic design, the cuajololi was a versatile weapon. It could be used to deliver powerful strikes, disarm opponents, or even as a defensive tool to parry incoming attacks. Its relatively light weight allowed for rapid swings, enabling the warrior to maintain an offensive pressure and react swiftly to changing combat situations. The cuajololi, in its sheer simplicity, is a testament to the practicality and adaptability of Aztec warfare. It required minimal resources and time to produce, making it a readily available weapon for both novice and experienced warriors. Moreover, its durability meant that it could withstand repeated use without significant wear, a critical advantage in extended conflicts. Like other Aztec weapons, the cuajololi was imbued with spiritual significance. It was often associated with the god of fire and patron of warriors, Xiuhtecutli. As such, a warrior wielding a cuajololi was believed to be favored by this deity, which could instill fear in enemies and boost the morale of the wielder. The construction of a cuajololi demonstrated the Aztecs' understanding of material properties and their application in warfare. They knew how to select the right wood, shape it to maximize its effectiveness, and treat it to withstand the strains of combat. This simple club was a reflection of their practical wisdom and the application of this wisdom in the art of war. The limitations of the cuajololi were inherent in its simplicity. It lacked the range of spears or darts and the cutting power of obsidian-bladed weapons. However, in the heat of battle, its reliability and the blunt trauma it could inflict made it a weapon to be reckoned with. Number 8. Tematlotl, the Aztec sling. The tematlotl, the Aztec sling, was a weapon of deceptively simple construction, yet lethal potential. Utilizing basic principles of physics and the availability of natural resources, the Aztecs transformed a length of cord and a stone into a formidable long-range weapon. The Aztec sling consisted of a cord, typically made from maguey fiber, with a cradle or pouch in the middle to hold the projectile. The warrior would swing the sling to generate momentum and then release one end of the cord, sending the stone hurtling towards the enemy. This simple mechanism allowed Aztec warriors to launch projectiles over great distances with surprising accuracy and force. The ammunition for the tematlotl was as simple as the weapon itself. Usually it was small stones picked from riverbeds or fields, chosen for their round shape and appropriate weight. In some cases, clay balls or even obsidian pieces were used, adding cutting power or shattering impact to the sling's already substantial blunt force. The tematlotl offered several tactical advantages. It extended the range of the Aztec warriors, enabling them to strike at enemies from a safe distance. It was also light and easy to carry, allowing each warrior to carry one without adding significant weight to their gear. Moreover, its ammunition was abundant and easy to replenish, making the sling a sustainable choice for prolonged battles or campaigns. As with most Aztec weaponry, the tematlatl was imbued with religious and symbolic significance. It was often associated with the god of hunting, Mixcoatl, who was said to have used a sling to bring down his prey. This connection with the divine added a psychological layer to the weapon's physical impact, a common theme in Aztec warfare. The construction and use of the tematlatl showcased the Aztecs' understanding of basic mechanics and their ability to apply this knowledge in warfare. Making a sling required only basic materials and skills, but using it effectively required practice and skill, as the warrior had to accurately judge distance, angle, and timing to hit their target. The tematlatl was not without its limitations. Wind and weather conditions could affect a sling's accuracy, and it lacked the penetration power to deal with heavily armored foes. It was also less effective in close-quarters combat, where its range advantage was nullified. Number 9. Ixtaca, the stone knife. The Ixtaca, the Aztec stone knife, was a multi-purpose tool and weapon used in everything from daily chores to human sacrifices. While its simple form may belie its significance, the Ixtaca was a powerful weapon that played a crucial role in Aztec warfare and culture. Constructed with a sturdy wooden handle and a blade made of chipped obsidian or flint, the Ixtaca was sharp enough to cut through flesh and light materials. It was smaller than many other Aztec weapons, which allowed for greater precision and made it easier to wield in tight combat situations. Despite its size, the Ixtaca could be lethal in the hands of a skilled warrior. The sharpness of the obsidian blade meant that even a small cut could be dangerous, and precise strikes could lead to significant injuries. Its small size also made it ideal for surprise attacks or as a secondary weapon, providing an additional layer of defense for the Aztec warrior. The Ixtaca was also used for various utility purposes, showcasing the Aztecs' pragmatic approach to tool-making. It could be used for cutting meat, preparing food, crafting other tools, and numerous other everyday tasks. This dual-purpose nature made the Ixtaca a versatile tool, valuable both on and off the battlefield. The spiritual significance of the Ixtaca was profound, as it was often used in ritualistic ceremonies, most notably human sacrifices. This religious context imbued the Ixtaca with a symbolic power that went beyond its physical attributes, adding to its psychological impact as a weapon. The crafting of an Ixtaca was an exercise in practicality and precision. Selecting the right stone, chipping it to the perfect sharpness, and attaching it securely to the handle required patience, skill, and a deep understanding of the materials. This process reflects the Aztecs' practical wisdom and their ability to apply it in warfare and everyday life. However, the Ixtaca had its limitations. The stone blade could break or become dull with use, requiring regular maintenance. Its small size also limited its effectiveness against heavily armored opponents or in situations where a longer reach was needed. Number 10. Tlacochtli, the Aztec arrow. The Tlacochtli, or the Aztec arrow, was a key component of Aztec warfare. As a missile weapon fired from a tlahuitoli, bow, the Tlacochtli transformed the strength and skill of the warrior into deadly force at a distance, embodying the Aztecs' tactical acumen and craftsmanship. Crafted from sturdy wood, typically pine or oak, the Tlacochtli was designed to be light, yet strong. The shaft was carefully straightened and polished for aerodynamic efficiency, while the pointed tip was typically made of flint or obsidian, known for their sharpness. Some arrows also featured a barbed design, making them harder to remove and thus causing more damage to an enemy. The back of the arrow, or the nock, was slotted to fit the bowstring, and it often had feathers attached to stabilize its flight. The careful design and crafting of each element ensured that the arrow would fly straight and true, converting the archer's intent into lethal action. The Tlacochtli was a versatile weapon. It could be used to engage enemies at a distance, keeping Aztec warriors safe from retaliation. Additionally, it could be used to harass or disrupt enemy formations, create openings for other warriors, or target specific enemies. With different types of arrowheads, including ones for cutting, piercing, and even setting fires, the Tlacochtli could be adapted for a variety of tactical purposes. As with many other Aztec weapons, The Tlacochtli held symbolic significance. It was often associated with Mixcoatl, the god of the hunt, symbolizing the pursuit and overcoming of challenges. The act of firing an arrow was seen not just as a physical act, but also as a symbolic gesture of casting one's will and strength against adversity. Crafting a Tlacochtli was a meticulous process, involving woodworking, knapping, shaping stone tools, and featherworking. The production of an effective arrow required an understanding of various materials and the principles of aerodynamics, highlighting the Aztecs' technical expertise. The Tlacochtli, however, had its limitations. Its effectiveness was heavily reliant on the skill of the archer, and even the best-crafted arrow could do little in the hands of an inexperienced warrior. Weather conditions like wind and rain could affect an arrow's flight, and the supply of arrows could become a concern in prolonged battles.